Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I've got what should be a fairly quick review here on this corded Bauer Random Orbital Sander. Right now I'm seeing it for a price on sale. Of course, this is a parking lot sale. This is like pretty much the best discounts they give on their tools at about 20 bucks. I think I paid around like the $25, $30, like what I remember is like $29.99 on this thing like 3 or 4 years ago. So I've had it for a little while. But I will say that I do not do very much woodworking. It probably doesn't have too much time on it for someone that's reviewing it. A lot of people will pull these things out of the box and review them. I try to not do that. I try to use tools and collect footage on them and use them as footage to do my reviews with. And that's usually what I like to do. In this case, I don't think I have too much because number one, I haven't used it too much. Also because I just don't really do a whole lot of woodworking and I already have so much variety in my channel that I try to, at least at this point in time, stay away from the woodworking a little bit because I've already got such variety in it that I don't want to get even more diverse in the channel. And not to mention, I just don't do woodworking that often. So this is all to say that last weekend I was sanding our kitchen table down. Needed it very, very badly. Had an old coating on it that was starting to chip and peel off. And it was very rough and it just needed to be redone. So I came in here, I probably spent almost 2 hours sanding that table down, every square inch of it. And I started off with this. I do like the Bauer tools. I've got a very good range of cordless Bauer tools that I like a whole lot. I don't know if I would go as far to say that I'm a fan of them, but I do like them. I do think that they're a decent tool brand. I'm happy with them so far. That all being said, this is a corded version of this Bauer Random Orbital Sander. I would be interested in the cordless versions. I just don't sand enough to justify buying one yet, and so I haven't. But when I was using this last week, I kind of made an official decision on what my opinion on it, I guess, is. And it's not, you know, it's not awful, but it's not good either. You know, we'll just go over some of the features real quick. The cord is one of these cheaper cords. I don't remember what the material is called that it's made out of. But it's not as flexible, especially when it gets cold, if that matters to you. You do have a nice protective insulator that goes into the tool that, you know, is overbuilt a little bit for a lot of flexing when using the tool. You have a switch here that goes from speeds 1 to max or 6, and a power switch here in the front, which has a audible click. This is rubberized a little bit up here. Definitely feels a little bit less grippy than some of the other tools, probably just because it's so covered in sand dust. I think it's a good looking tool. I think that it's well put together in most senses. And I wouldn't even say that it sands fairly well. I didn't notice any kind of, issues with the sanding, any kind of weird textures or anything like that. It definitely did sand. Here's where my hang up is on this thing. It's basically that it vibrates the ever-loving crap out of my hand to where my hand was hurting at the end. And not at the end of it, because I did stop using it about, I don't know, maybe roughly halfway through. And I moved on over to a different sander to compare it to this Bauer sander. So essentially, I bought this rigid sander to actually compare it to the Bauer years and years ago, but I just did not have enough time with either tool to really feel like I could go out there and make that video. After this experience, I definitely do. Like I said, I sanded for about 2 hours straight with the, and maybe an hour with this thing and an hour with this thing. I sanded that table down really, really well. What I noticed is even with the same grit of sandpaper, even with the same kind of sandpaper, I don't know that that would even make a difference. I would not think that it would, but just to make sure I state it in case somebody wants to use it as an issue, this thing was far, far more comfortable to use. When I stopped using this, my hand was hurting. So I decided I'm gonna move over to the rigid, give it a try and see if I can stand to use it longer. And I don't know what technology they have in here. I don't know what they do to these tools to kind of negate that vibration, but rigid does it. This thing I could use all day long. This thing I couldn't use more than an hour, and I probably really would have preferred to stop at about 30 minutes. Now, granted, this thing costs like 50 bucks, maybe even $60 these days. I'm not sure exactly the price on it. And this thing costs literally $20 right now. Is it a very fair comparison? No, it's two very different brands. I really should have like some kind of Ryobi across from it. And even I question if Ryobi would be on par with this thing. I don't know. The thing sands. It definitely does. It's got a good hook and loop bottom on here that you can stick any of these hook and loop sanding papers to. It sands the wood. It does a decent job. I don't know. It should last probably quite a long time. But if I was going to be like some kind of real serious woodworker, DIYer, or even work professionally, I would steer far, far away from that thing, because I don't think you can stand to use it for more than just about a half an hour. If you just occasionally you need a real cheap sander that is maybe of decent quality but really inexpensive just to get a project done or something, that's probably where I'd put this tool. I think it might be worth it in that sense. As someone that actually goes out and uses their power tools, their sanders, for extended periods of time, even occasionally, I think it'd be worth it to go for one of these. Maybe Harbor Freight has updated this thing. Maybe they have some anti-vibration technology in future models or something like that. I guarantee the one they're selling now is exactly the same as this. Get a higher quality one. Maybe even pick up a higher quality Bauer one if they come out with one. Hercules, whatever they've got, I'm sure it'll be better than this one. So this is maybe neutral tool review. Does it sand? Yes. Does it sand for very little money? Yes. Is it comfortable to use? No. It misses the mark there. It definitely gives you vibration fatigue over time. Thanks everyone for watching. Hopefully you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. We'll see you in the next video.